Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. A fascinating twist in American political history. The son of Robert Francis Kennedy Jr., prominently known for speaking out about vaccines and specifically coming to prominence around COVID, has now announced his official entrance into the Democratic primary for 2024. And before you laugh, he's actually making more of a dent than people think. Here is a little bit from his announcement yesterday. Let's take a listen.
And the coup de grace was the lockdown. The lockdown was the biggest shift in wealth in human history, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And I blame President Trump for the lockdown. I do not believe that everybody at the CIA is a bad person. My daughter-in-law, Amaryllis, who is one of the top officers on this campaign, spent her entire career as a clandestine agent or the CIA as a spy in the weapons of mass destruction program in some of the most dangerous parts of the earth. And I have never met anybody with such courage. This is what happens when you censor somebody for 18 years. I got a lot to talk about. They shouldn't have shut me up that long. Because now I'm going to really let loose on them for the next 18 months. They're going to hear a lot.
There you go. A little bit of a taste. Made COVID a big centerpiece going after the Biden administration and even Donald Trump kind of running at him almost from what I guess would be coded right today, although who knows, I guess it would have been coded left 15 years ago. Somebody who's really been more on the fringes of the American political system for 18 years, but coming to obviously to prominence, at least with some portion of the public, because let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Robert Francis Kennedy Jr. has now got some 14% of support, Krystal, in the primary. There were several hundred people there at the announcement that he had yesterday. And in terms of the dent that he's making, I mean, I think that people forget, first of all, obviously the Kennedy name, Kennedy magic, etc.
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize his book, I think it was The Real Anthony Fauci, was one of the best-selling books in the country for like almost a year.
Yeah.
It sold at the very least hundreds of thousands of copies, lots of copies. He certainly made the rounds and, podcasts and all of that. And, quite a bit of people even know who he was before that, just given name ID. And on top of that, a lot of media, probably more media covered this event even than Marianne Williamson in terms of his announcement, again, because of the Kennedy name. Between earned media, between a genuine, pop culture, or at very least, public recognition, I'm not going to say necessarily, quote, has a shot, but he could be more of a menace, I think, than a lot of people are going to give him credit for.
There's a lot to say here. So first of all, with regard to the poll, it is a little bit of a weird poll because they didn't poll likely primary voters. They polled people who voted for Biden in the last general election, which is just kind of an unusual universe to poll. And it's very likely actually a broader and less overtly Democratic-based political than a primary poll would be. I mean, and so it is a bit of a strange universe, but still, when you have Joe Biden only garnering 67% of his own voters that already selected him one time, and you have, over 30% that are either going to RFK Jr., Marianne, or I don't know.
Or not vote.
Yeah. Exactly. I think it speaks to how vulnerable Biden really is and how much the media tries to cover for him. Because every article that's written about Joe Biden, it always says in there, they've always got to have the line in there, no serious primary candidate has emerged. Okay, by whose measure? Because y'all sure treat Tim Scott, who's at 1%, and Nikki Haley, and, potentially Mike Pence, and all these other slew of Republican candidates, you take them seriously. Well, they're polling lower, it appears, than either RFK Jr. or Marianne Williamson, both of whom are, let's put their politics aside and however you feel about them for a moment. I'll get to that and how I feel about them in just a second. But both of whom are best-selling authors, very well-known, have their own base of support separate and apart from the current political moment. So to just dismiss them like, oh, they don't have a shot and no one's going to pay attention and no one cares about them, I think this is evidence very much to the contrary. Not to mention, every poll, when you ask Democratic voters, do you want not the general public, Democratic voters. Do you want Joe Biden to be your nominee again? They're like, thank you for your service, sir. Thank you for defeating Donald Trump. Can we have some other options here? So listen, RFK Jr. has come to prominence. He's really made it his recent life's work to be, he would object to this characteristic, but he's an anti-vaxxer. He's been one of the primary people, tying autism to the increase in the vaccine schedule. There's no evidence of that. And the fact that vaccines exist and autism exists, to me, is not remotely proof. So I have issues with his stances. I don't agree with him on some of those things. Do I think that means he should be censored, shut up, not allowed to be on a presidential debate stage? Absolutely not. And, I want to give credit to, I was listening to some of his interviews in advance of this segment. I was listening to a long interview he did with Megyn Kelly. I thought she handled it perfectly. She was very tough with him, challenging him on the science backing what he was saying. She made sure to fact check. She took her time to record the interview and then go back, get comment from people, look at the research, and she was able to present that. That's the way that you deal with claims that are not scientifically based or that you disagree with. That's the way you approach it. Now, the Democratic Party, for all their supposed care and concern for democracy, they don't even want to let these people on a debate stage, even though both of them have already achieved way beyond the polling criteria that would be reasonable to allow them on a stage to debate against Joe Biden. So if the Biden team is so confident in his abilities and so sure that these are not serious candidates, let them on a stage and have a debate and let the American people decide.
I agree with you. And you just get to the numbers question that I referenced earlier. Go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Once again, here you can see hardcover front list fiction. RFK has already sold about 300,000 copies of the book. That was he sold 300,000 copies of the book before January of 2022. That book remained at the top of the charts. So look, we don't have a way to know the exact number, but I would guess probably 1 million books that he was able to sell throughout the pandemic. And
that's a lot of books, people.
That is like, it's like a Titanic best. That's like Dan Brown novel level, success, or at the very least in a year. So again, ignored by the media, basically ignored mostly by everybody, but I don't think, you cannot deny a serious political people that want to look at things objectively to see a 14% bump or at the very least in the general electorate, see millions of books sold and say, this person, again, I'm not saying they have a shot, but they will demand attention, and I think rightfully so, as you said. Look, if you're so afraid, if you want to challenge him, then have him on the stage and tell him he's an idiot. You can do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people have done that before. But if you're afraid, that says more about you.
I think it's also interesting the way that originally you said he's now coded right-wing. Steve Bannon was out singing his praises, saying, we love this guy. He's done interviews with Tucker Carlson and whatever. Like, he's more embraced in a lot of ways by right-wing media now than he is by the left. But that's what's interesting to me is that, the coding of being a vaccine opponent has really shifted over the years. I mean, he was like sort of in this LA liberal, lefty, anti-vax moment. And now that has become coded very, hard right wing. And certainly, opposition to lockdowns and all of those things, even though, he does critique Trump and Biden alike. So interesting figure in that way as well. I mean, he originally was an environmental lawyer, still is an environmental lawyer, went after a lot of companies for the sort of toxins that they would put into the environment. So I don't want to undermine that work that he's done, even as obviously I disagree and I'm opposed to his views with regards to the vaccines. But for me, the bottom line here is you now have in this poll, which again, it's a weird universe. And I would say probably a significant amount of his support is just people who are like, I don't like Biden. Here's a Kennedy name. Sounds good to me, right? But 14% in this universe of voters. And Marianne was at 14% in battleground state voters in a different poll. So you already have two contenders who are putting double digits on the board against Biden. And yet the media still wants to tell you, no, he's safe, no serious contenders, et cetera. Listen, maybe, and very likely, right? Very likely that Joe Biden is the Democratic nominee, no doubt about it. But to completely invisibilize these people, to try to shut down any opportunity for people to evaluate their choices, to try to shut down any opportunity to have the three of these individuals on a stage and be able to work through the processes of democracy that, again, the Democratic Party claims so much to care about, I think it's disgraceful. and I think it's hypocritical.
Yeah, I completely agree, Krystal.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.